Britain First, Wikipedia article audio. Britain First is a British fascist political organisation formed in 2011 by former members of the British National Party. A part of the far right, the group was founded by Jim Dawson, an anti-abortion campaigner linked to Ulster loyalist groups in Northern Ireland. The organisation's leader is former BNP councillor Paul Golding, and its deputy leader is Jada Franson. Britain First campaigns primarily against multiculturalism and what it sees as the Islamization of the United Kingdom, and advocates the preservation of traditional British culture. It attracted attention by taking direct action such as its Christian patrols and invasions of British mosques. It has been noted for its online activism. History. National People's Party. Britain First has unsuccessfully contested elections to the House of Commons, the European Parliament and the mayoralty of London. In November 2017, it was statutorily deregistered as a party by the Electoral Commission. Britain First was founded by Jim Dawson, who ran a call centre in Dundonald, East Belfast, for the BNP. Dawson's links with the BNP as a fundraiser ended acrimoniously in October 2010 when he was accused of groping a female activist. A former Calvinist minister, Dawson is a Scottish Christian fundamentalist. Based in Ballygowan, Northern Ireland, he also led an anti-abortion campaign, the UK Life League. Other former officials from the BNP joined Dawson in the formation of Britain First. Its current chairman, Paul Golding, had been a district councillor in Sevenoaks, Kent, in 2009-11 representing the BNP, as well as the BNP's communications officer. Britain First was launched through the British Resistance website in May 2011. Others involved in Britain First's launch included the former South East regional organiser of the BNP, Andy McBride, and Kevin Edwards, a former BNP councillor and organiser in Wales. The party's structure is similar to that of Ulster loyalist groups in Northern Ireland, insofar as the group has a political wing backed up by a paramilitary action force. The Action Force's members assume titles such as Provost Marshal, and a document written by Jim Dawson said that I have lived in the worst trouble spots of Belfast, I have had high-powered machine gun fire rip bricks from my house and have been injured by grenade attack. Sometimes we had to defend our homes from the traditional enemy, other times from the forces of the state, the police, and army. Britain First announced in 2014 its intention to launch in America, as America First, but it failed to materialize. Northern Ireland offshoot. In November 2015, Britain First claimed that its Facebook page had over 1 million likes, more than any other British political party and the British Prime Minister, David Cameron. At the end of November, Facebook briefly closed the Britain First page for breaching its community guidelines. The group also had to remove 2 photos published without permission. It later called Facebook fascist. By October 2017, it had 2 million Facebook followers. In December 2017, Twitter suspended the accounts of Britain First and its leaders Golding and Franson, after revising its rules on hate speech. In March 2018, Britain First was banned from Facebook, who said it broke community guidelines and was designed to incite racial hatred. Departure of Jim Dawson. In November 2011, Britain First announced the registration of a political party, the National People's Party, with Golding named as leader, Edwards as nominating officer and McBride as treasurer. However, the Electoral Commission register shows Britain First listed itself from November 2011 as a political party, with the same roles for the three officers, and no current or past listing for a National People's Party, so it is not clear whether the National People's Party has a separate existence. The Britain First website carries a constitution for the party stating, among other things, that the campaign group Britain First will be entitled to put forward a representative to sit on the Standing Committee, a 6-person group tasked with the direction of the party and running all its affairs. The principal figures in Britain First, Dowson and Golding, launched a new political party in Northern Ireland in April 2013. Dowson was registered with the Electoral Commission as the Protestant Coalition's leader, and Golding as its treasurer. However, Dowson stated at the launch that the coalition had no one leader. Golding had flown into Belfast in December 2012 to help coordinate protests over the decision by Belfast City Council to limit the flying of the Union flag over Belfast City Hall. Dowson had been prominent in the protests, and at the time of the launch, was awaiting trial for public order offences, as was another of the coalition's founders, Willie Fraser. Appeal to Polish immigrants to join. The website and logo of the Protestant coalition closely resembled those of Britain First, although neither site explicitly mentioned an organizational link. Electoral history. In July 2014, founder Jim Dowson left Britain First. The Daily Mirror and The Independent wrote that Dowson left because of the party's mosque invasions, which he considered to be provocative and counterproductive, as well as unacceptable and un-Christian and just as bad as Angem Jodari. Paul Golding reacted to this by saying that Britain First was, as far as right-wing organizations go, relatively scandal-free. 2014 European elections. Britain First itself denied the Mirror's story, calling it chief communist newspaper and lover of all things anti-British. The party claimed to have published a farewell letter from Dowson, in which he cited fatigue and the safety of his family as his reasons to leave. In July 2017, it was reported by BBC News that a string of Britain First videos designed to attract a Polish audience had appeared online, including a video from Jacek Miedler, a Polish far-right former priest, an interview with a Polish media outlet that has over 500,000 views, and videos by Polish Britain First supporters encouraging others to support the party. Rochester and Stroud by-election, 2014. On June 23, 2017, Marek Zakrocki, a 48-year-old Polish-born Britain First supporter, shouted "White Power" and gave a Nazi salute as he used a white van in an attempt to run over Kamal Ahmed, a curry house owner. The van mounted the pavement twice before making contact with Ahmed, and the windows of the curry house were also smashed. Hours earlier, Zakrocki had told the police, "I'm going to kill a Muslim. I'm doing it for Britain." Copies of Britain First newspapers and flyers were found in Zakrocki's home, and he also said he had donated money to the organization. Britain First registered with the Electoral Commission on January 10, 2014. In 2014, the party registered the phrase "Remember Lee Rigby" for use in the 2014 European elections. The chair of the Electoral Commission later issued an apology for the offence that has been caused by accepting the registration. When questioned by Andrew Neil on the BBC's Daily Politics about the offence caused to Rigby's mother, Paul Golding said, "We apologize to the mother of Lee Rigby, but it was a major act of terrorism, it was a big public event. He was a serving soldier." Britain first stood candidates for the 2014 European elections in Wales and Scotland. It encouraged English supporters, in the absence of a Britain First candidate, to instead vote for the English Democrats or the UK Independence Party, while warning against voting for the BNP. The party came 8th of 11 in Wales, with 6,633 votes, and 7th of 9 in Scotland with 13,639 votes. Britain First stood its first parliamentary candidate for the Rochester and Stroud by-election on November 20, 2014, nominating its deputy leader, Jada Franson. The party had been active in nearby Gillingham in opposition to a planned mosque. London mayoral election, 2016. Royal Mail refused to deliver a leaflet for the party because it believed it to be illegal. The company said it could refuse to carry election mail if it considered the contents threatening or abusive. Protests and actions. UKIP won the by-election. Britain First finished 9th of 13 candidates, with 56 votes, finishing below the monster raving loony party and above the patriotic Socialist Party. At the count, the BBC News reporter Nick Robinson was criticised on Twitter for taking a selfie with Franson, stating that he did not know who she was and that he would check before appearing in any future photographs. On September 27, 2015, Paul Golding announced that he would stand as a candidate in the 2016 London mayoral election. He received 31,372 or 1.2% of the vote, coming 8th of 12 candidates. During the victory speech of Labour's Sadiq Khan, he turned his back. In May 2013, following the murder of Lee Rigby, Britain First released a video threatening to place Islamist cleric Anjem Jodari, who was accused of radicalising Rigby's killers, under citizen's arrest if the Metropolitan Police would not arrest him. On January 5, 2015, a district judge at Chelmsford Magistrates Court found Paul Golding guilty of harassing the sister-in-law of a man allegedly linked to the July 7 bombings, having mistakenly turned up at her house instead of his. District Judge David Woolard fined Golding £325 and a further £100 for wearing a political uniform. Action against Islamists. Christian Patrol. Entry of mosques and distribution of leaflets and Bibles. Rotherham. In February 2014, Britain First conducted what it called Christian patrols in an area of Tower Hamlets, East London, to counter continuing Muslim patrols which had first come to media attention in 2013. Around a dozen or so Britain First activists recorded themselves holding a banner proclaiming "We are the British Resistance" and emptying cans of beer outside a mosque to bait Islamic extremists operating in the area. A video uploaded onto social media showing the event gained national media attention in the UK, and the patrol was condemned by Muslim and Christian leaders in the area. In May 2014, members of Britain First invaded 10 Bradford mosques, as well as ones in Glasgow, Luton, and East London. During the mosque invasions, some of which they filmed, uniformed members of Britain First presented worshippers with army-issue Bibles and with leaflets on grooming gangs. They confronted elders about alleged Muslim grooming gangs in the area, and they proselytized Christianity, telling one person to reject the false prophet Muhammad and read the Bible. In Bradford they also went to the re-election campaign office of a Muslim city councillor, demanding action on grooming gangs and telling him that he had been warned. In response, the Member of Parliament for Bradford West George Galloway said, "This is a grave and national issue. We demand full police action and protection of mosques and worshippers." The police said that they were investigating. In July 2014, Britain first entered the Crayford Mosque in South London, demanding that its segregated entrances be removed, with Golding saying, "When you respect women, we'll respect your mosques." A volunteer of the local Muslim association called Britain First "filthy people creating trouble in our society." 2 addresses were raided during the police investigation of this action, which led Britain First to protest at Bexley Heath Police Station. They sought to gain publicity by claiming that Golding was arrested for this protest, although the Metropolitan Police said that they had spoken with him and no arrests had been made. Golding was jailed for 8 weeks in December 2016 for breaking a court order banning him from entering mosques or encouraging others to do so. In August 2014, after a report which revealed that over 1,400 children had been sexually abused in Rotherham, mainly by Pakistani men, Britain First protested inside the headquarters of Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council with a banner saying "Justice for Victims of Muslim Grooming." In May 2014, Britain First announced that it would be deploying hundreds of ex-British forces alongside several armoured ex-Army Land Rovers to protect the UKIP leader Nigel Farage after he had been opposed on the street by supporters of Scottish independence. Whilst acknowledging that UKIP and Britain First were rival right-wing organisations, it stated that the two parties remain patriots together and as such it was willing to put our men and our resources at UKIP's disposal. In March 2015, a group of anti-UKIP protesters went to a pub where Farage and his family were dining and allegedly scared his children into running away. Later that month Britain First went to that group's meeting in London to give these traitors their comeuppance. No injuries were reported, but a 48-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of assault. UKIP rejects associations with Britain First, stating "On the fringes of our politics are nutters and we don't want them anywhere near us." Claimed defence of Nigel Farage. In 2015, Britain First offered solidarity patrols in areas of London with high Jewish populations while blaming anti-Semitism on Islam. The Community Security Trust, an organisation against anti-Semitism, has warned Jews not to become involved with Britain First, and has likened this policy to similar ones by the English Defence League and the BNP, saying that all of these groups were opposing Muslims more than supporting Jews. Britain First visited the French port of Calais in the middle of 2015, during a period of attempted migration to the United Kingdom via the town. Afterwards, the party was approached by the documentary maker Ross Kemp to feature in a documentary film about the contemporary rise in nationalism. The party rejected Kemp's offer, calling him a left-wing actor. A producer responded by saying that Kemp listens to all opinions. At the same time, the organisation were recorded for a BBC Three documentary titled "We Want Our Country Back." The organisation has been described as fascist by The New Yorker, Politics.co.uk, GQ, Daily Mail, The Sun, and others. The group's website has disputed this, listing fascism as one of several alien and destructive political or religious doctrines it opposes. Open Democracy has said that Britain First is not fascist, since it does not oppose democratic politics and does not have a direct connection to older fascist groups, but that they are xenophobes and Islamophobes. Jews in London. Calais. Policies. Britain First's stated aim is to protect British and Christian morality, and it is committed to preserving our ancestral ethnic and cultural heritage while it also supports the maintenance of the indigenous British people as the demographic majority within our own homeland, that genuine British citizens will be put first in housing, jobs, education, welfare, and health. The party self-styles itself as loyalist. Paul Golding disputes interpretations that Jesus was pacifistic or liberal, justifying his belief by citing Jesus' apparent violence against the money lenders and his statement that he came to bring a sword rather than peace. Christian denominations across the UK have condemned the group as blasphemous to Christian teachings. It also campaigns against Islamism, immigration, and abortion. Britain First claims that it isn't opposed to individual Muslims, but is against the doctrine and religion of Islam itself, which they describe as barbaric. It said in 2015 that Muslims are the only community not integrating, and that Jews don't cause any problems. Its claimed objective is to save this country and our people from the EU, politically correct, multicultural insanity that is now engulfing us. The group opposes the European Union, saying it is a socialist threat to individual national identities. Britain First claims to have thousands of members who belong to ethnic minorities, and the group rejects the term racism as a communist mass murderer to silence European opposition to multiculturalism. A number of sources have criticized Britain First on various grounds. Some sources have noted the openly militaristic and violent nature of the group, particularly in recruiting and training ex-soldiers, and unlawfully wearing political uniforms. Members of the group, including its founder Jim Dowson, have stated their desire for a religious war in the UK. Controversies. A 2014 report on the links between Britain First and terrorist organisations in Northern Ireland said that behind populist Facebook posts lies a small but dangerous group of religious fundamentalists intent on starting a holy war. In 2016, after the group held Christian patrols in a primarily Muslim area of Luton, all major Christian denominations and organisations in the UK rejected Britain First and its ideology. The group was accused of hijacking the name of Jesus Christ to justify hatred and spread fear. That same year, a petition to the Home Office was launched urging a ban on the group. Britain First has also attracted derision and condemnation for social media posts. These included a post which falsely labeled Afghanistan's first female police officer, who was murdered by the Taliban, as a terrorist, and posts falsely linking the burqa and terrorism. In March 2015, an American veteran stated his intention to sue for libel after the group shared a photoshopped image of him. In the original image, the veteran was holding a sign reading "Boycott Bigotry." In the version shared by Britain First, the sign reads, "Boycott bigotry and kill all non-Muslims." Britain First also received criticism for posing for a photograph with naval cadets in Nottingham, and then adding a caption falsely claiming that their activists were protecting the children. In addition to this, Britain First publishes media falsely labeling Muslims, who happen to be protesting against Islamophobia and bigotry, celebrating cricket results, or not even there, as extremists. In August 2014, the Cabinet Office wrote to Britain First requesting that they remove an image of the British Crown from their merchandise. The Advertising Standards Authority had previously requested that the crown be removed from Britain First's online accounts. In response, Golding called the ASA a toothless quango with no power which no one takes any notice of, and responded that the group's solicitors had deemed the crown distinct enough to be used without breaching regulations. The ASA published a ruling on March 4, 2015 upholding complaints about Britain First's use of the crown symbol, and about their selling merchandise falsely implying that it was British-made. In May 2017, Golding and Franson were charged with religiously aggravated harassment over verbal attacks and leaflets they distributed in Thanet and Canterbury. They pleaded not guilty at a hearing on October 17, 2017. A Persecuted Patriots rally was organised on November 4 to show support, but protesters outnumbered supporters. At Folkestone Magistrates Court on March 7, 2018, Franson was found guilty on 3 counts of religiously aggravated harassment and Golding on 1. They were jailed for 36 weeks and 18 weeks respectively. In November 2017, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, caused controversy by rebroadcasting 3 anti-Muslim videos shared by Jada Franson. The retweets were responded to by Franson and Paul Golding with the statement "God bless you, Trump. God bless America." Britain First boasted of a surge in support after Trump retweeted its videos. The 3 Islamophobic videos tweeted by Franson were inflammatory and unverified. Britain First has a history of sharing misleading videos. A video was filmed during the Syrian civil war in 2013 and showed a man, who is believed to be an al-Nusra supporter, destroying a statue of Mary and stating, "No one but Allah will be worshipped in the land of the Levant." The third video contained footage from Alexandria, Egypt, during a period of violent unrest following the 2013 Egyptian coup d'état. Trump's retweeting was condemned by Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, Labour MP Chuka Umunna, Labour MP David Lammy, Labour MP Yvette Cooper, Brendan Cox, the husband of murdered MP Joe Cox, journalist Piers Morgan, Unite Against Fascism and the Council on American Islamic Relations. The incident resulted in calls for Trump to be banned from the UK. Joe Cox's successor in Parliament, Tracy Brabin, said he would not be welcome. A spokesman for the Prime Minister, Theresa May, condemned Trump's retweeting and added that Britain First spread hateful narratives which peddle lies and stoke tensions. Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, also condemned Trump's retweets, writing on social media that Britain First seeks to divide communities and intimidate minorities, especially our Muslim friends and neighbors. Britain First does not share our values of tolerance and solidarity. God calls us as Christians to love our neighbor and seek the flourishing of all in our communities, societies, and nations. I join the urgent call of faith groups and others for President Trump not just to remove these tweets, but to make clear his opposition to racism and hatred in all forms. Ideology. Misleading media. 3 weeks later, on December 18, Twitter suspended the accounts of Golding, Franson, and Britain First. They later joined and asked all their followers to go to the Gab social networking service created as an alternative to social networks like Facebook, Twitter and Reddit. During a January 2018 interview with Piers Morgan for Good Morning Britain, Trump said he was not familiar with Britain First when he retweeted them, saying, if you are telling me they're horrible people, horrible, racist people, I would certainly apologize if you'd like me to do that. Merchandise issues. Britain First's 2017 conference in Bedfordshire, held at the beginning of December, was booked under a different name. The venue said it would not have taken the booking from Britain First if it had known who was behind it, as the values of our organisation conflicts with theirs in totality. The booking fee was donated to charity. One of the invited speakers at the conference was Jolene Bunting, an independent unionist city councillor in Belfast. Bunting had previously organised an anti-terrorist rally in front of Belfast City Hall in August 2017, with invited speakers including Golding and Franson. Franson was subsequently arrested in London in November 2017 by detectives from the Police Service of Northern Ireland, charged with using threatening, abusive or insulting words or behaviour at the rally, and ordered to appear at Belfast Magistrates Court on December 14, 2017. On that day, both her and Golding were re-arrested in Belfast. A small free speech for Jada demonstration took place outside the courts. Religiously aggravated harassment. Posts retweeted by Donald Trump. 2017 conference. Finsbury Park terrorist attack. Facebook account. Murder of Joe Cox and possible proscription. On June 19, 2017, a van was driven into pedestrians in Finsbury Park, London, near Finsbury Park Mosque, injuring at least 8 people. On January 23, 2018, it was alleged that the perpetrator of the Finsbury Park attack, Darren Osborne, had had contact with far-right groups including Britain First. After the London Bridge attack on June 3, he made several searches on Google for Britain First leader Paul Golding and his deputy Jada Franson, as well as Tommy Robinson, one of the EDL's founders. He also received a direct Twitter message from Franson. In March 2018, Facebook removed the accounts of Golding, Franson, and Britain First, on the grounds that they had repeatedly violated its community standards. Facebook explained that the group had repeatedly posted content designed to incite animosity and hatred against minority groups, which disqualifies the pages from our services. At the time, more than 2 million people had liked the group's Facebook page. The British Prime Minister, Theresa May, and the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, both welcomed the move. The group was also banned from setting up an official Facebook page in the future. Matthew Collins, head of research for the anti-fascist group Hope Not Hate, suggested in The Guardian that the ban, combined with the imprisonment of the party's leaders, has the potential to lead to the collapse of Britain First, which has depended heavily on online activism. On June 16, 2016, Joe Cox MP was fatally shot and stabbed outside a library in Burst Hall, by a man who eyewitnesses said shouted Britain First as he carried out the attack. One witness told BBC News that he was uncertain whether the suspect was shouting Britain First or put Britain First. Another man said that he did not hear the words at all. The party issued a statement denying any involvement or encouragement in the attack and suggested that the phrase could have been a slogan rather than a reference to our party. The group's leader, Paul Golding, condemned the attack, saying, "We hope that this person who carried it out is strung up by the neck on the nearest lamp post. That's the way we view justice." Following this, the far-right organization National Action became the first far-right group to be proscribed as a terrorist organization in December 2016. In November, several months after Cox's murder, the Labour MP Louise Hay said that the House of Commons should open a debate on the issue of Britain First's proscription, saying to The Independent that the threat and violence of the extremist political right is of serious concern, adding that we need a full and frank debate in this country about how such hate-filled, violent extreme right organizations are threatening and undermining the values we hold dear. Following this debate, Hay received a number of death threats, saying that on one day an individual went through every one of my YouTube videos and said he would not rest until I was murdered. If that is not evidence that Britain First should be proscribed as a terrorist organization, I am not sure what is.